BS Live rocks.
You've got some great chops, so don't kid yourself. Sean Kilbride joining us right now from, Haywire and a number of projects. So let's move on past Haywire. And, you guys are still playing now, I understand, and that's great. But after that ended, what did you end up doing? I know that you ended up playing with Kim Mitchell as well, and Sass Jordan, Alana Miles, and some of those Canadian artists.
The Kim Mitchell didn't start till 2006.
Okay,
something like that. But I had a long period where I was just freelancing when Haywire ended. 2000. What was that? 2000. Sorry, 1994, something like that.
Yeah, it says here 82 to 93 was Haywire, then 2004 to present.
Yeah. So I took a break for a little while, and then I just moved to Toronto, and I just tried to start freelancing around here, and it was a tough goal for a few years,
right.
Just getting my name back around, and Kilbride's not just the drummer for Haywire; he can do some other things, right? But I really started working on it. I had never really woodshedded my whole life previous.
Right.
I was always in bands, so that was my practice, always band practice.
Right.
And that'd be hours a day doing that, but always with a band. I never sat, thought myself, okay, I better learn how to do this well because, I'm not in Haywire anymore. So if this is going to be my skill, my trade, I better get good at it. So that's what I started, and I continue to this day. Right, just my own, just rehearsing on my own. As well as working that. So I did that for a few years, and then slowly got a call. Oh yeah, Kilbride, let's try it out on this. And I think the first big one was a Sass Jordan gig. As far as other recording artists, like you mentioned Alana Miles, Sass Jordan, and then just started jobbing. We're just doing gigs and working fairly often around here.
So then you get involved in music theater as well. You've done a number of productions. So how did you morph into doing that? How did you find that connection? And because you've done some great ones.
Well, I'll tell you, my brother, Patrick, had been doing it for probably a decade, and one of the, first call bassists for theater shows around here. I had never really thought about it. It kind of frightened me before. It frightened me, and I thought, do I want to do the same show, 8 shows a week, for 6 months or even longer if it's a success? Well, as it turns out, I do because I love it. But it was, so the Queen show was auditioning, Queen Will Rock You was auditioning drummers around here for it. And so the contractor who, hired my brother Patrick all the time for other stuff said, they don't want typical theater drummers. They want drummers who've been in rock bands, who know how to play for a big stage, that kind of thing, right? And so he said, well, you try out my brother. So I auditioned against 3 other drummers. It was a very nerve-wracking experience for me, very nervous, sick to my stomach audition, which I'd never done before. I'd never done an audition. And so I'm going up against guys that I know, I walk into the room and there's Mark, there's Rick.
Yeah.
So, and I listen to them go and go, wow, and quite frankly, better drummers than me. And I listen to them. Okay, it's now I'm up. I do it. I do 3 songs that were preordained, and I go and I play it, and then you get a call back for the next audition, and that audition's in front of Brian May and Roger Taylor.
So now the game's changed a little bit.
It's really changed. You can't suck today, my friend, if you want this gig. And at that point, I thought, oh, well, I really do want this one, right? I really want this gig. I never wanted a gig as much, right? And I was just up against one other guy, and then got the call about 2 hours later, and I was ecstatic. And it was a 2.5-year run of that show, and I loved every minute of it. So I loved that life. I never thought I would, the 8 shows a week, but getting to play Queen music, it's fantastic.
And isn't it nice though that your drums are set up and then you leave and you come back and everything is right there? And well, I guess you had that when you had roadies, but then when you got to start carrying your own gear, it's a different story. Isn't it nice though? Just like you go for a coffee, you come back and you're ready to go. There's no bus to stress, hotels, none of that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man, there's nothing like it. And both theaters, because I live in Toronto proper, both theaters are very near. I could just take the subway to work.
Right.
You leave the house at 6:30. You're home at 10:30. If those are your hours, it's very regular. Where else do you get that in our business?
No,
the way it is now, it doesn't exist. So, no, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And the band, and some experiences with musicians, wherever. I've actually never been in a pit band. All the shows I've done, the band's been on stage, and that was an example of one where the band was on stage. You still have the experience every night of playing for a packed theater,
right.
And always, the Princess of, and then it was the Cannon Theater, and then the Panasonic. These are nice theaters, right? So it's just a really great workplace.
So you've also played in Rock of Ages, right?
Yes.
And interesting, I was going through your pictures in that, and we're going to talk about drums in a little bit, but you have a double kick setup. And how long has it been since you played that? And how long ago was Rock of Ages? That wasn't that long ago.
It ended 2010, I think. Yeah, it was a 9-month run. Wish that was longer. They just they said, look, again, band on stage. They wanted that look of an 80s rock band with the double kick, and I haven't used a double kick. It was double pedal for years.
Right.
I even stopped using the double kick in the Haywire days, right?
Yeah.
After the Nuthouse record, I actually just went to single kick with the double pedal. And so it was very strange because it's, as you know,
the setup.
You put the setup, it really pushes that hi-hat over to the left a lot more than you'd like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I tried that too. I actually bought a double kick set for some 80 stuff we're doing, and I find it a challenge. It's a totally different dynamic where you're sitting there, and you almost feel like you're kind of lost when you're not used to it, right? So
yeah. It also, I don't know if you're the same, but I mean, when you went to single kick, you could lower that rack tom down where I like it. And I'm a low rider, so I like it nice and low. Suddenly, and there's two 24-inch kicks. You got two toms there. You got no choice, but those babies are going up about 6 inches.
Right.
And so I was not wild. I got used to it, right? Got used to it, but.
All right, we're talking to Sean Kilbride. He's got a website. We're going to plug that in a little bit as well. Do you enjoy now the theater stuff more than maybe going out with a band and touring? Because Haywire does some summer tour dates, which it might, it's got to be a nice break for you too to get on the road a little bit, and maybe some of the other stuff you're involved in. What do you like more?
I don't know if I like it more. Even when I was doing the theater, and that was another great thing about the theater world, you could sub out and do the shows that you wanted. So you could take a break, right, and take a week off, and I would do that, and we'd do some Haywire shows. Even back then, I could still do some Kim Mitchell shows, or
right,
or Sass Jordan shows, that kind of thing, while doing the run. Now, right now, I mean, I haven't done a theater show. The last one I did was last summer.
Okay.
Right? And the next, I'm not doing another one until next year. So, but this summer there's some Haywire shows, but I don't know if I prefer either. I don't.
That's okay to like them both.
I really do love both.
Well, see, you've got a good life. You can go on tour and rock out, and then you can stay in town and rock out as well.
Now, as you know, the touring is not like it used to be.
No.
Full Canadian tours. It's a lot of mostly now. It's just doing weekends, flyouts, go out west. Like this summer, we're doing a couple of flyouts out west, do a couple of shows, and then come back. So the days of hopping on the tour bus and going out for a month. I would really like that. If Haywire were to do that, sign me up.
Now, who drives that ship for Haywire then? Like, you know what I mean, as far as where you're going to play, when you're going to play, and then when you're going to say, okay, that's it for another year.
Oh, well, I mean, it's like this for a lot of bands. It's mainly the summer stuff. That's really nothing, especially for a band like that. And everyone has moved on to other stuff. Right. Haywire's not full-time for anybody. And so Dave's got his own production work down there. So we really... It's like herding cats trying to get us all together. Okay, when can we play? When can we get together and rehearse for a bit? Not being full time anymore. It really is tough. It's just everyone. Sometimes we'll Skype rehearse because we can't get together.
Yeah, and that was going to be my question: is do you actually still rehearse your songs? I mean, if you haven't played them in a year, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean we haven't played in about a year, and we've got a show coming up. Our first show comes up next month, and so we'll get together 3 days before the gig for probably 2-3 hours Skyping it, right? But those guys have a live recording of me playing just drums, so they're playing along to my live recording in their room. I'm looking at it on video, just kind of hitting pillows, just going through the set. And I'll do it on my own in my own rehearsal spot. I'll go through all these songs and just get that muscle up, because that's different. They're doing a 90-minute set of Haywire tunes.
Right.
Just some of the other gigs that I'm doing now, that's not what you do.
Right. Let's talk about your drums. Sonar, you've been with them for a long time, I believe, and Sabian cymbals.
Bobby and Shane, BS Live.